want to welcome you to Beer Life 13. So my channel is basically going to be about brewing stuff at home. Today we're doing a trip to Costco, found some fermentables. I'm gonna ferment it up, see what happens. Kind of like doing that, like unknown, see what happens. After the first batch, you can kind of make adjustments and make it more to what you like. But the first batch is definitely going to be, we'll see what happens. So welcome. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you checking out this video. It's my first video that we're going to do of a series. Let's just say we'll do a tribute. Y'all know Trailer Park Boys. Y'all know Jim Leahy. We're going to do, he has the liquor stories, liquor diaries. We're going to do booze diaries. We're going to make a bunch of stuff at home. And we're going to throw it out there on video. And, what I need you guys to do is in the comments, tell me what you think. Like, did you do it? Did you make it? What'd you think? Things that can be improved. Curious of your input. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you checking it out, my first video. So we're gonna get right into this. We're gonna this is a super easy recipe. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, I'm a brewer by heart, like beer. That's what I do. I make beer. But I've been in quarantine and haven't been at the brewery as much, and I'm interested in doing a lot of different fermentation that doesn't necessarily require boiling. You're taking stuff straight from the store and just seeing what it'll do. Like today, I don't know if you would call it a mead. I don't know if you would call it a wine. It's kind of like a hybrid. It's so we're gonna do 5 pounds of honey, and we're gonna do 5 gallons of strawberry lemonade, and then what is it? 2 pounds, 10 ounces of strawberry jam that we're just gonna throw in there for a little extra flavor and some extra sugar as well, because I know it's got a lot of sugar in it. And we'll figure out the alcohol at the end. Math, we'll be able to figure it out. But to be honest, at home, I don't really care. It is what it is. But yeah, I've been doing a series of these different things the last year just because, I've been at home. I haven't been able to ferment like I do at the brewery. So I've did some cran raspberry. I've did some ciders. I'm just interested in doing different stuff, even food related. Did some kimchi. Just basically trying to do different fermentations at the house. And at this point, I'm going to share it with y'all, my experiences, ups and downs. Because I don't know anybody that's actually did this. This could turn out absolutely horrible, but on paper it sounds pretty good. So we're gonna brew it and we're gonna ferment it, and then after this video we'll end up doing, I'll have a panel of a couple brewer friends of mine and stuff, and we'll taste it. We'll give you an honest assessment of what we think. Whether we like it, whether we don't, whether we think some changes should be made to the recipe. We're gonna do all that. So I appreciate you being here, and let's get right into it. Well, this is gonna be a simple thing. No boil, no nothing. So we're gonna make it happen. And I'll be back with you in just a second. So in the background here, you'll see the ingredients of what we're doing. So 5 pounds of Kirkland brand honey. This stuff is like $13 for 5 pounds. Good flavor. We got 2 pounds, 10 ounces of this strawberry spread jam from Costco as well. Everything's from Costco today. And then we're using, what is it? 2, 4, 6, 7 of these strawberry lemonades, also from Costco. Everything's organic. and I still got to measure the starting gravity of this, just kind of see where it's at and see where we're starting. Then I can kind of do the math from there of the sugar added from the jam and from the honey, which I know that's going to be about a point that we add right there. But yeah, so no brewing. We're just going to basically mix this up, and the yeast I'm using is from a previous batch of originally cider. It's a cider yeast. And then I used it for a cran raspberry I did. So we're just going to pour that in on top of the secondary yeast. So there's still some yeast in there. It will still go to town. I'm a little concerned with the acidity of the lemonade, but I think that yeast will be able to handle it, hopefully. And we'll see what happens with this. While we're doing all this, I'm going to be drinking some cider that we made. Didn't do a video on it. We're going to do another one real soon. But same yeast used for this as we're using for all of them. I really like how it brings the fruit flavor through. It's White Labs. I'll have to come back to you with the number. But it's there's one other few cider yeast. Really nice. A lot of sulfur when it first ferments, but that dies off fairly quickly. And it will ferment out completely. The last drink that I made with it, it actually went below 1.0. So it definitely will go dry. You'll, like, in that case, I had to back sweeten it, but it will ferment out completely. I think its alcohol tolerance is like 14%. I'll get back to you with the exact yeast that I used for this, for these 3 batches. But let's get to blending this up, putting it together, and getting it fermented tonight. All right, so stay tuned. One of the cool things about doing these, buying juice from the store and, fermenting it up is, like, you already know that everything's sanitized. In this case, I'm pouring the juice on top of a yeast cake from my last batch, so I don't even have to sanitize that vessel because I already know it's fermenting clean and it's good to go, and I want the yeast cake to go to work. So, like, tonight's like super easy. It's probably like I'll be done real soon. So we're gonna dump these in. I've got the honey heating on the stove just to make it easier to pour. No other reason than that. Probably the hardest part about today will be actually like getting this into the fermenter. I mean, it's strawberry jam, so it should be interesting to see how hard or difficult that is to get into the actual fermenter. But let's just real quickly get 5 gallons of this strawberry lemonade in there, and then we'll work on getting the jam and the honey in there. And so, be right back. Just warming up the honey just to make sure it's easier to pour, that's all. So took it up to a boil, took it off, and then put the honey in, and just kind of letting it heat up a little bit to make it easier to pour. So yeah, I'm gonna pour this honey in there and then mix it up real good before I put it in the fermenter. Hopefully it's easier, a little bit more blended than if I had just dumped it straight in there. And then the yeast will be able to get out it real easy. So take a minute here for this to drizzle on in. The strawberry jam actually went in pretty easy, and the hot honey and juice will rinse out the rest of it in the funnel here, get it down in there into the fermenter. I expect active fermentation, quite honestly, within 8 hours. Anytime I use a yeast cake, it's super quick. I love being able to do repetitive batches. I mean, you save yourself money. I think the yeast was like $8 or whatever. So if I can keep using it over and over like that, you're just saving yourself money. And this yeast is really awesome for letting the fruit flavors shine through. Like I said, I forgot what White Labs it was, but I will post that in the comments. That looks pretty good. So what we'll do, put the cap back on, and then just start mixing that. And you'll be able to tell by what's sticking to the bottom if you're getting it or not. Oh, it's pretty mixed up there. So we're gonna rinse that strawberry jam down in there. There we go. Okay. So looking pretty good. Went over just a little bit. That'll be alright. That's why you put a towel down underneath it. So we'll let that settle down for a minute, and then I've already sanitized the airlock. So we'll put that on here in a minute, and we'll put it in a closet. I generally like to put in a closet that, how do you say, with a non-external wall. So a closet within your house, apartment, whatever, so that the heat doesn't change a lot. So in this case, it's going to be in the guest bedroom, a closet that's not against the external wall, so that the temperature doesn't change a lot. It stays pretty consistent, and if nobody's in there, you know, I don't have the heater on, and so it stays at like a nice 64 degrees, 68 degrees, which is perfect fermentation temperature. And this probably will take about 3 weeks before I put it in a secondary, and then it'll take a couple more weeks in secondary to get clarity that I'm looking for. I may add some pectin enzymes to it to kind of get some clarity, but to be honest, I'm not looking really for clarity on a lemonade. It's going to be like a Mike's Hard Lemonade, but way better, hopefully. Let's take a reading on the juice so we can kind of see where we're at on that. Let's see if I can move it over here. Let's see what we get here. Okay, so you're looking about 1.052. So with the honey and the jam, I don't know, we'll have to do the math on it, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a nice little alcoholic beverage. Most of the juices I've been getting lately are like 56, so this is a little bit lighter. And I actually, to be honest, I haven't even tried this, so I'm curious of, I don't even know what my basic recipe ingredients taste like, so we'll see. Oh yeah, that's pretty nice. It's got a lot of strawberry sweetness and strawberry flavor, a little bit of the acidity from the lemonade in the background. I can see where this would be a nice nice beverage when we ferment it out. We'll have to check it out. We'll see. This is what this is all about. It's experimenting and kind of documenting it while you're doing it, so that you can kind of make improvements or scrap it, you know, depending on how good it or how bad it turns out. But I think the base ingredients here I like a lot, so I think they could potentially produce a good alcohol. So we're going to see, and you're going to be right here with us as we go through the journey of the fermentation. I'll do some pictures and videos of the actual fermentation and of the gravity drop, and then more importantly at the end, like I said, we'll do a panel tasting with my friends, and trust me, they're honest as can be, and they'll let us know if it's something we should pursue doing again, make adjustments, or scrap. So thank you for being here with us. I'm about to move this into the closet and let it ferment. I can't wait till tomorrow morning, wake up. That's even after almost 30 years of fermenting, it's one of my favorite things to see active fermentation, to see the bubbling going on the next morning. I anticipate actually within 8 hours this one will be bubbling and going and fermenting. But even after that many years, I still love seeing it, so I'm looking forward to seeing this one take off. And I'll take you along for the journey, and looking forward to seeing you guys again. Please comment down below. Thank you. So it turns out I had a little too much liquid, so what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna clean a 6-gallon carboy and then transfer it to it. So right now I'm putting some star sand into the 6-gallon one, and then I'll transfer it over. That way I don't make a mess in the guest room closet and have the girlfriend mad at me, because that's never a good thing. So yeah, it's just a quick little transfer over. In the meantime, I'm going to do a little sippy poo on some cider. I'm liking the color though already. Obviously it'll clear out a little bit as it ferments, but the color is pretty cool. It's definitely strawberry looking. I'm curious at how the acidity of the lemonade deals, the yeast deals with it. There's plenty of sugar there for the yeast to go to town, and tomorrow morning will be a telltale. You know, if there's not active fermentation in the morning, I'll be a little concerned, just because I'm doing it on top of a yeast cake. If it wasn't on top of a yeast cake, you know, I would not be concerned for, you know, probably 36 hours. But yeast cakes, usually they take off super quick. All right, so I'm gonna get this transferred over into the 6-gallon real quick, so it has a little bit more room to ferment, and check with you guys in a sec. So we're transferring it over. Yeah, I probably should have been in a 6-gallon to begin with, but you know, it is what it is. So it's transferring over easily. And then I'll put the rest of what we got over there in it. It's really a lot of honey and juice. I'm gonna have to like do the math and see where this turns out alcohol wise. But I gotta tell you, the cider, I'm gonna do another video on that real soon, because it is like the easiest alcohol to make. That'll blow your friends' minds away. I mean, it's just super juicy, super flavorful, but still 6.3 ABV. So we'll do a video on that real soon. But yeah, we're gonna get this transferred over, and then throw it in the closet, and let it go for a couple weeks, and then throw it back in the secondary, which we're taking out right now. Yeah, I got good feelings about this one. The beginning liquid is super sweet, which is fine, you know, because the yeast will take care of that. But it's really got a nice flavor, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the yeast, what they consume, the sugar, but what flavors are left behind from them. But I have a feeling this is gonna be a nice little beverage. We'll put this. I plan on carbonating this one. So when it's done, it will go in a keg. If I have to back sweeten it, I will. And for those of you that don't know, back sweetening basically is adding some either flavors or sugars to the final product if you know it's going to be refrigerated. In this case, it's going to be caked. It's going to be in the fridge kegerator. So there's no issue of those secondary sugars and flavors being put in re-fermenting, because they definitely would. But because it's going to be refrigerated, we should have no problem. Like the last one I did was a little too dry, so we did that to it, and it turned out really good doing that. You just can't leave it out if you're bottling it or whatever. That's the only thing, because it will re-ferment and it will give you a headache. All right, I better get to this real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, so to conclude the video, that probably only took, quite honestly, like 30-40 minutes or whatever, to do the whole dump it in the fermenter. The longest part was taking the water to heat up to then eventually heat up the honey. Cost wise, I think at Costco today here in Tacoma, Washington, it was like 45 bucks, but I ended up not using all the juice. I ended up not using 2 of them, so that was like 8 bucks or whatever it was. The yeast I already had, so I saved on that. But yeah, basically, like, you know, $40-some, you're gonna get 5 gallons of prison hooch, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of names going around for these type of drinks. So not too expensive, and you obviously can, you know, scale it down. If you only want to even do one of the containers, which I believe was 92 ounces, you could do that. You know, pour some out, pour some honey in, you know, whatever. I mean, the fun thing about all these is like experimenting, and seeing what works and what doesn't. And the only way you're going to find that out is to do it, because there's not a whole lot of people doing it out there, which makes it kind of fun, you know. Experiment, have fun with it. So I'm going to continue, you know, imbibing, and so I hope you are as well, and I really hope you leave me a comment. Like I said, this is my first video, and I just want to put it out there and kind of, you know, get people's feedback. So I hope you have a great evening, and we'll be talking soon.